uh, video. Is there any questions that you have from the previous topic? New consumer. Can you just annotate what was the triangle that we saw in the last lesson? Probably Nelson, you want to just give it a try here? There was a triangle that we saw in the last class, right?
Triangle.
Yeah, triangle.
Uh, wait.
Somebody can support him. When Chian, probably you can just start off writing somewhere here.
Okay. Cool.
Very good. Brand. All right. See, when Chian started, she put brand and customers. Very good. So you have a B, C, and E. Very good, Venchian. Oh, Karin also wrote. Thank you. Good. So it is actually the BCE triangle. So what about the BCE triangle? Nathan, you want to say anything? Brand, customers, and employees. Only when you believe in brand, right? Only when you believe in the brand, your your employees will be to reflect it in their day-to-day activities of the businesses. So they will be able to bring it out to in their service excellence to the customers, right? And then what happens with the customers? Customers will be accepting it, and that's where the brand keeps evolving around. All right. So keep this at the back of your mind, because the next topic that we are going to learn is about brand life circle, which is also eventually part of your topic, right? Brand life cycle. So when you talk about the brand life cycle, there are few things that you have to pay attention to: the birth, the growth, maturity, decline or relaunch, and death of a brand. Recently, I don't know if you have heard about this brand. Have you heard about this brand?
Yes.
Okay. Have, where is it now?
The camera brand?
Yes, the camera brand. Do you think it is still prevailing?
No.
Okay. Have you heard about this brand? Bloomberg. This is an organization that is, which is actually, it's in the business sector, which has actually declined, or it has been vanished, or to say it's been dead, because they were not able to revive their business, because they were not able to cope up with the moving trends like digitalization, transformation, new age era, communication. So they were not able to catch up with the moving trends, and they eventually failed as well. And now in Malaysia, have you heard about this brand? It's not dead yet. Have you heard about this brand?
Yes, miss.
Yes. Do you know where do they have their properties?
In Bukit Bintang.
Very good. Yes, Mujtaba. They have a property in Bukit Bintang, which is in KL. And apart from KL, where do they have a property? Anyone? They've also linked up. They have a franchise with some PT restaurants, right? And there was a hotel of theirs in Penang. Actually, Penang is the first one that was in operation. That only the KL property came in. Have you heard about this property in Penang? And couple of weeks ago, we heard the news that they have been closed in because of the pandemic, and they were not able to revive their business, and they were not able to continue with their operation. So they had to lay off their staff first, and then they closed the hotel as well. So these are the things that will eventually affect a brand, right? The birth of a brand, growth, maturity, decline, relaunch, and death of a brand. So this is what we're going to study, or we're going to get to know more details, but you will eventually study more about it in your assignment. So your assignment, your project number one, or your assignment number one is totally development or to know more about the brand life cycle. Okay, saturation or maturity. So this is the curve, the brand life cycle. So when you look at it, introduction, okay, the growth, saturation, decline, disappearance, and sometimes some companies would like to bounce back. They're very resilient. So what do? They immediately package or repackage their products, or they emerge with some other companies, and then they come about with a new product. All right. So recently, all of you must have heard how Facebook has merged with WhatsApp, and then Messenger and Instagram. So things like this. So this is actually development of the scope of the brand itself. So when you know that there is a saturation point, or you are about, see, when you reach this saturation point for any brand, when you reach this saturation point, that means you are at complete risk. You might either fall the other side, which is immediate growth or growth eventually, or you will fall down the other side, which is decline. Okay, so you need to be very, very careful when your business is achieving the saturation point, when you're not able to evolve, when you're not able to introduce new products or new products in your timeline, or introduce new services, or open up different brands and different properties when it comes to hotels, right? So that is the signal or the sign that you know that your brand is coming to a saturation point. So you and your team, your R&D team, needs to be very, very careful to move on here. And that's why recently, if you see any phone brands, telephone brands, any products, every once in 2 years, or some companies like once in a year, they keep introducing novel products. They keep introducing, yes, they copy from this product and that product, but still their brand is sustaining. They're able to grow. Yes, Apple is one segment of client, but whereas Samsung is another segment of client. But the other brands, right? These two are the leaders, we all of us know. The other brands like Nokia, and Oppo, and then Huawei and Mi, we do not know how they have catered and ventured into different markets. So this is how you have to start thinking, and you have to start analyzing the brand. So what happens when you talk about birth of a brand? Eventually, when you talk about birth of a brand, so the company needs to think or strategize how you will bring about into the market. So some companies, like for example, hotels, a classic example for us right now is one and only brand in one and only brand in JB. Okay, they belong to the world's famous group, Atlantis Group of Hotels. You know, any hotels that comes about, they suddenly don't open up in one place and they say, okay, we're open for recruitment. Okay, our rooms are open. No. So something is called as a soft opening. Have you heard about a soft opening of hotels and resorts?
Yes.
Yes. So what do you think they intentionally do there? What do they eventually do during the soft opening? One side, they prepare for the hotels open, right? So they're preparing to welcome their guests. The infrastructure is upgraded. They're looking into how they can welcome, what is their systems, processes. So they're bringing everything into place. And the other side, they're open for recruitment. They are bringing in, okay, pre-opening team or soft opening team, right? So they call it different terminologies. So they start working, okay, housekeeping team, setting up the rooms, front office team, setting up your system, okay, maintenance team, going into your infrastructure completely, right? Because maintenance really works hard before the hotel could start. And the other side, sales and marketing. So they come up with a lot of promotional events, and then they start looking into the markets. They catch hold of advertising companies, billboards. So they will be all out to start talking about the brand, to spread the word about the brand. They do this kind of a gimmick, okay? So people will eventually wait for the brand to open. No, so that wow, we heard so much about the hotel. You see, this Ramsay, Gordon Ramsay Hotel, when the restaurant is going to open up in June, but all of you said by now the restaurant reservations are closed, right? You still have a solid 6 months ahead. It's close. So that is how a brand is given birth. That is how a brand is born into the market. So there's a lot of things that goes behind, and this marketing team does play a very, very strong role. Even before the hotel could start, one and only in JB, 2 years ahead. No, now it's like 1 year for them, but 2 years ahead, they came. So you guys are BH 18, 19, and 20, right? So for BH 15 itself, they came in for the recruitment drive. You can ask me, Miss, there's no hotel, how can they bring in? Yes, they started recruiting people for pre-opening teams. So the word is already in the market. They started spreading the word. All right. And then what happens? Some people do this money back guaranteed. Okay, money back guarantee. This one is just we call it the skim the market. I don't know if you've heard this term, skimming the market. Okay, so they skim the market. That means whatever brand is existing. Say, for example, one brand is selling a room for 300 ringgit. The average rate is 300 ringgit. So when they come about, they skim the market by telling, okay, either they sell the room for 250 ringgit or they keep the 300 ringgit and then they add on, okay, free airport shuttle, or then they give you one extra night, or they upgrade your room, or then they say, okay, breakfast free for these many days, or you have a lunch free, or you have a dinner, or you have something at the bar. So that is the money back guarantee. But this is actually in terms of marketing, it's called as skimming the market, right? And then the third thing is personal contacts, so salesmen. So this is the role that the personal contacts, okay, your contacts, spreading the word. They come about everywhere. They start talking about the brand. Ormond Group of Hotels, if you come to know Ormond Group of Hotels, they initially were the Tune Hotels. Have you heard about Tune Hotels? Tune Hotels. They were part of the Tune Hotels, but then they rebranded because they knew they achieved the saturation point. They were slowly declining. So they came about with a new product called as the Ormond Group of Hotels. So what they did, they went and refurbished their entire hotel in Chowkit, in KL, right? And then they named their restaurants called as Chowkit. They call the hotels in very localized terms. So this is how they came about. And then what did they do? They came about to different colleges, universities through their personal contacts. They said, we want to talk about our hotel, we want to talk about our brand. So how effective is that? That's a different story. But you already started spreading the word. So that is what a salesman will do. That is what a new brand should do. And then, of course, your distribution to be expensive for items. All right. So what you have in your list or in your portfolio of your product is a different scenario. You can come about it later also. But this is how this is what you will have to do in your introductory stage. Any questions on this class? Okay. I hope it's a no. No, Miss. Thank you, Zuha.
No,
All right.
miss.
And then thanks, Mujtaba. Okay, now moving on. This is talking about the brand itself. All right. What do you do? Growth of a brand. So whatever you've done in the initial stage is now leveling up to another stage, to another level. All right. So what do? You will have to start improvising your market. You have to look into existing markets, the new market, the advertising expenditure, right? The brand loyalty. All this is the second stage. Okay. Now you have opened up your fishing net and people have started falling in, right? So now they're already in your net. They're already in your pool of your clientele. So now how do you maintain with them? How do you start connecting with them? How we have already studied that if you stop focusing on your contacts, on your clientele, if you do not connect with them, if you do not communicate frequently with them, then it's a big danger situation. What happens? They will stop moving and they will start looking for another brand, right? So lower prices a little to attract consumers, increase distribution, to ensure wide availability of product, emphasize after sales and consumer services. So all of this is what we studied in the previous chapters. So this is where they bring in brand loyalty program. Okay, you have this loyalty program and you have this point system. You can go and travel here, you can go and travel there. So now this is something very, very common, very common. You open up Lazada, you open up Shopee, you open up this, you open up that. Oh my goodness, you get so confused, right? With your programs, with your offers, with your sales gimmicks. You buy this, you get 30 points, 30 coins free. So what do you do with the 30 coins? You have to buy another time. Then you can use the 30 coins. So what are they doing? They're making you to invest, they're making you to buy, right? So like that, your brand loyalty program should be designed in a way that it gets your consumers to come back to you so that your sales is opening up, your business is opening up. So recently, Ma Hotels, Malaysian Association of Hotels, during their in one of their strategies to revive the business of hotels in Malaysia, they have brought about this offer. They said, okay, the hotels, the quarantine hotels should charge only a base rate, all right? They should not go beyond that, all right? So with that rate, they are also giving some vouchers to the people, to the guests, all right? So probably about 500 ringgit or something. So then they start using these vouchers in the local brands or in local tourist association, tourist spots. So then when these guests go there, "Hey, I have a voucher, so I'm going there." So eventually your voucher is only for 100 ringgit, but then you start spending more than 100 ringgit. So this is one of the strategy to expand or to develop or to support the business of tourism and hospitality in Malaysia. So that is how your brand will grow. So you will have to look into these kind of strategies. Okay. And moving on, brand maturity. So how do you know? So when you start looking into brands, when you start doing your project, when you start analyzing a brand, when you start learning about it, you see what is your growth maturity stage. Have you achieved a stable maturity? That means this is when you break even. Okay. So when you break even, you know that you have achieved a stable maturity. Right? Decaying maturity. This is when you know that your brand is struggling. You really cannot meet your costs. See, sometimes when your expenses generated is covered by the profits you make, then it's break even. But the expenses you incur is not covered by the profits you make. That means there's some problem there. You are decaying eventually, right? So what do you need to do? How you need to cope up? So strategies required at this stage. You need to know what are the new features bringing in, what is the warranty period. So these are all different things that you can look into. So these are some of the things I've explained here, but you have a lot more than that. And now with the pandemic and with the business declining stage globally, you have a lot of things that people are doing. They eventually share it everywhere. So it's the best practices that's shared. So what happens when your brand eventually dies? So then you will have to look into saving your brand. What do? You immediately launch with someone else. Okay. One classic example for us is in the hotel industry is Starwood Hotels. Have you heard about this Starwood Hotels? Yes, no, no, yes.
No, miss.
Ah,
No, miss.
okay. No, no, no. That's nice. Okay, you heard about Marriott now, right? Marriott group of hotels. That you know, right?
Yes.
Yes, good. See, Marriott group of hotels. Initially, it was JW Marriott. That was their only property. Then they started opening up. They had Ritz Carlton under them. Then they had Marriott International under them. Then no, they only had JW Marriott, Ritz Carlton, and then they had a few other properties depending upon the franchises. But the two most important brands is Ritz Carlton, the Ritz Carlton, and JW Marriott. Okay, they have a nice bird as their icon. Okay, so it's designed like that, their logo. But eventually, Starwood Properties, their Starwood program, when you talk about loyalty, brand loyalty, when you talk about guest loyalty program, customer loyalty program, you can never beat Starwood. Starwood are pioneers in that. They started mentoring, they started pioneering how to connect with your guests in terms of loyalty programs. So Starwood Property, they had Meridian. I'm sure you must have heard about it. They had Westin. They had Aloft Group of Hotels. They had Sheraton Group of Hotels, Renaissance Hotels, right? Everything was under Starwood. When you talk about a Meridian or when you talk about a Westin, when you talk about a Renaissance, when you talk about a Sheraton, Sheraton is the most sought after or a popular brand among Starwood Group of Hotels. They have a list, all right? So what happened eventually, I think 3 years ago, Marriott started talking connections with Starwood and they bought over, Marriott bought over Starwood. Okay, so then they came about to become as MI, Marriott International, right? They have 12,000, no, 6,700 properties under the Marriott International globally across the world. Marriott International now, right? So they knew that Starwood is slowly declining, or they knew, Marriott knew that they need to do something to expand their product. So they had enough resources, they had enough name in the market, so then they bought over Starwood. So now Marriott International is managing so many properties. I think in one of the class I shared the Marriott International brand, right? So they have various segments. So this is what you actually do to protect your brand from eventually dying, or it's called as the relaunch strategy. Okay, to protect your brand from death or from decline. Okay, moving on, you look into disappearance stage. Okay, this is what happened to some of the properties. So they have to really look into it. Okay, hotel, when I speak about Equatorial Hotel, EQ, he had a meeting with their CEO, Donald Lim, Dr. Donald Lim, right? So when he was sharing, he was very proud. He was really proud. He said, see, we are the only independent international hotel, homegrown property in Malaysia. They don't have the brand outside. It's a homegrown property. That means they are the only surviving brand that is not linked with any other local or international brand. See, all the small, small properties that come about, if they know, okay, I'm declining slowly, what do I do? So that's why they get the franchise with the international brands. Okay, so when you learned in your business of hospitality, you might have learned about franchise programs. So that's a different scenario. How about you come and merge with local brands and you become internationalized, all right? But EQ Hotels maintain their identity, the uniqueness that they are a homegrown property and they've eventually come up to be a five-star hotel, right? So now they really have to look into how they can survive. See, for an international brand, it doesn't mean that you get funds from outside, but you have a strategy, you have a balance system, and you know how to maintain because you're already connected to a bigger family, right? So that's how you have to manage your brand. Okay, moving on, a trend towards sustainability. So this is what we spoke about when I explained to you about Starwood and Marriott. You need to look into. So what do you need to do? You need to look into how you will revive the brands. What is your new business model? How you will come about from the black market goods? What is your market transparency? What is your active product community? So this is more like all the commodity products, any perfume brands or any cars or any watches, or if you have any, um, what do you mean? If you have any phones, luxury phone market. So all these things is towards sustainability. But this can also be brought into about your hotel brands also. So I want you to just go back and see this. But these are the things that has already been explained when I was talking to you about Starwood and Marriott. All right. So this is some statistics that I've given to you, quite an old statistics, but I wanted to go back and see. See why I don't give you the actual statistics is because I'm just triggering you to go back and see, hey, what is the current status now, right? So that's why I purposely put old statistics. Right. So I want you to go back and see what is the current statistics, luxury sales by value. Okay, so you can just go back and see. So this is the market segment, and this is their value that's given for the various markets in billions. Okay, so eventually this is all about the brand life cycle. So going back, you need to know the birth, the growth, maturity, and the decline stage for the brand life cycle. So when you do your assessment, also your assignment, analyze it in these 4 characteristics, and then you can come about in each characteristic how you can see the details, what they have done, how they have done, why they did it. So all this should be coming out evidently, vividly in your project. This is what I will be looking at in your project. And I think I will be bringing in industry experts to assess your assignment. What do you think? If you
Oh,
say yes, lift up your
yes.
hand. If you say
Raise
yes,
up.
lift up your hand. No.
Miss, it's 8:30. Should I go?
Yes,
I
yes.
mean,
You take
sorry,
attendance.
11:30.
Zuha,
No, I
take
haven't.
your,
Okay.
yeah, 1 minute, 1 minute. Can you see my screen? Take your attendance. Zuha, I'm also joining the briefing now. I told the class that I'm finishing it a bit early, but we have covered the topic though. Take your attendance, class. Yes, Nelson is okay for bringing in the industry assessor. Zuha is okay. How about Aaron, Karen, Mujtaba, William, Wenchian, Masha? What do you guys think? Yes, no, no, yes.
The question again, Miss?
Yeah.
For your assessment, your project presentation, I want to bring a industry evaluator, some manager in the hotel. What?
Uh, I mean, it's fine, I guess. I don't know.
Somebody's asking this, do we have a choice?
Yeah, do we even have a choice though?
No, 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 no. If you're not comfortable, you let me know. I've not opened to
I'm
people yet, but I'm okay. I mean, I love to do that. But please, as I told you again, do not go into any commodity brands. Just go into hotels and resorts and restaurants. Okay, do not go into any perfumes, cars, phones. Okay, all these are examples that I'm using for the classes. Okay, class.
All right, we'll do, Miss.
Thank you. Okay, if there's no questions, I don't think I have any activities on times, but just take a look at it. If there's anything, just do it. I will meet you next Monday. All right? Marsha, you've been quiet. Wenchian, Karen, you've been quiet. Anything?
Nothing, miss. So far,
Thank you. Thank you.
Miss.
All right. So I think all of you have taken your attendance. Great. I will see you on Monday. Happy weekend.
Miss.
Okay?
Miss.
Yes, Nelson. Yes, yes.
Can you reply my WhatsApp?
Oh, yes.
Ah,
Right.
I
I
got
read it. I
about
read your question, but then wait, all right. What does the product line mean? Okay, when you say product line, this is what I explained to you. Starwood. Zuha, if you want to go ahead. Okay, she left already. Very good. When you talk about a product line, see, when I spoke about Marriott, they have so many products under them, right?
yep.
Yep. So I think I shared it in one of the classes also. So what are the
Okay,
different
Miss,
brands? The
let's
luxury, the
just say, Miss, if it's Four Seasons, is Four Seasons Kuala Lumpur considered a product line?
Four Seasons, it's a product itself, but they do not have a product line, which means they do
Okay.
not have any other brands. But you can still choose Four Seasons. When you say product line, you can actually talk about, okay, Four Seasons Langkawi is a resort. Four Seasons KL is a city hotel, also an apartment hotel. So that's your product line. So they have a resort, they have a service apartment, they have a city
All right.
hotel.
All right. I see. I
Okay.
see. All right.
Right. And then how many pages we need for the slides? Slides, as long as you cover these four characteristics, the birth, the death, the maturity, the growth, you should be okay, Nelson. So there's not specific time. Do we have something for this project? Not for this, but for the next one, yes. All right. And the third one, not for this. Do we need to prepare proposal or only slides? For this, you only need to prepare slides, but if your slides is not enough, then I will ask you to prepare the proposal. But it depends upon how intensive or how comprehensive is your slide. Brand life cycle, the brand itself or a particular product. The brand itself, because if you talk about a particular product, then if they have enough coverage of information, then you can talk only about a product under the brand.
Okay.
You understood, right? Say, for example,
Yes.
I just explained to you Equatorial, right? Under Equatorial, you just talk about the brand itself. But if you talk about Marriott International, you can look into Renaissance. Renaissance Hotel has been closed. So under the Marriott brand, you want to talk about Renaissance Hotel itself, then no problem. So it's like that, okay? But ensure that your properties are luxury properties. Brand is a luxury brand, okay?
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so I hope that answers your question. Sorry, Nelson. Actually, thanks for reminding. I wanted to discuss in class so that everybody is aware. Your questions were very, very genuine and correct.
It's okay. It's okay.
Okay, if